In today's video, I'm going to color this seashell card with mixed media. I'm going to combine alcohol markers and pencils, but I wanted to show you my inspiration, which is a sheet of postage stamps. I thought those were so beautiful. So I'm modeling my shells on that. Now, when you stamp and cut your stamp images, and you're using any kind of dye tape, like the tape that I showed you, you need to use an adhesive eraser to get the sticky residue off of the images prior to coloring with any medium. So I'm going to, like I said, do mixed media. I'm starting with just a base layer of a very pale ivory alcohol marker. When I color with colored pencils, I like to have like a little base layer to start with because it makes coloring with colored pencils so much easier. What I'm going to give you tips for today is just making colored pencil coloring a little bit quicker. It is one of the most time-consuming mediums to use, and so I want you to feel like you can still do it in a reasonable amount of time. And starting with the alcohol ink is one of the ways that helps you save a little bit of time. So I have these super blendable pencils. I love these pencils that I'm starting with. And I'm just sort of mimicking the ones I saw on the postage stamps. But the first thing you need to know about colored pencils is to just put a tiny amount of pencil down in the beginning. I am coming back in with a blending pencil, which I really wanted to show you the ins and outs of today because it is not a harsh solvent. I know a lot of people use solvents for coloring. I'm not a fan of really any kind of harsh chemical when I am coloring. There are a few less harsh blending solvents that you can use. I've talked about those in the past. There's one that's orange oil based. But in general, I don't like to use anything that has a smell, and certainly nothing that is sort of a petroleum byproduct like some of the popular blending solvents have. So this blending pencil, as you will see, really helps me just get smooth coloring. It spreads the color out. You'll notice right here where I'm coloring with the blending pencil that it's actually moving the color down the little shell. And see how much smoother the right side is than the left side? That's just like one of the really genius things about using these blending pencils. No odor, no solvents, nothing. It's just like an easy way to blend your colored pencils and make it just a little bit faster. You can get these same effects just by spending a lot more time with your colored pencils, which I've also done. You can see other colored pencil videos on my channel where I have done strictly pencil to pencil blending, but sometimes you just want a quicker way, and so I love this blending pencil. Now on the post office image, I saw these like dark brown accents on a shell that was similar to this, and so I'm adding a little bit of alcohol marker just to add some interest to that little shell and make it a little bit different from the original stamped image. Now on this shell, and I really do not want to name any of these shells because I will get it wrong, but what came to mind is a conch shell. And so I'm coloring the inside part of this shell in this nice rosy pink, and then I'm using the blender pencil to pull it down. And you can see how you can spread the color. So if I just color at the top and then use the blender pencil, it actually pulls that color back down a little bit farther onto the cardstock. And that's sort of another advantage. So you can see I'm just doing very quick coloring, just adding yellow, a little bit of orange as an accent color, and then going back and blending it all out with this pencil. The other thing that I absolutely cannot use in addition to solvents, which I'm super sensitive to, is those, and I can't even say the name of them, but you know, those like tightly wound paper things that people use to blend things. I can't use those. I can't. I like the squeaky sound that they make on paper just sets my teeth on edge. I can't do it. So hats off to everyone who can. I cannot. So this blending style is perfect for me. And in the coming weeks, I'm going to have a video with a new kind of pencil. But what I love about this one is it's a very affordable colored pencil that you don't have to have a lot of coloring skill to use. They blend really, really well, even without the blending pencil. And I think that kind of every level of colorist would be happy with these pencils. The other great thing about them, if you're not like me and have full set syndrome, is they come in actually kind of a small quantity of pencils. So the larger sets that I have, like Luminance and some of these other pencils that come in 75, maybe 150, this set, which is a very affordable set, is a small, reasonable number of pencils. Doesn't have every color in the world, but I've used them in probably 10 recent videos, and you're not really lacking any colors. So if you're just starting out with colored pencils, I highly recommend these. I think they're great. And like I always tell everybody with colored pencil work, it's not going in the Smithsonian for most of us. Mine certainly isn't. It's just a card. So anything that makes blending easier, anything that makes coloring easier, I am all for that. This one is kind of fun because it has these little spots on it, and I wanted to add a warmer color than that pink to warm up the edges of that shell. So this one is a very quick and easy one. Now, one of the little tricks that I like to do when I'm coloring across these 5 images, in this case, it can be whatever you want. This is a full slimline card, and I have the link to the pre-cut and scored slimline cards that I buy down below. But for this, it seemed like 5 was perfect. But I will say, if you're getting out a medium like an alcohol marker or a colored pencil set like this set that I'm using today, one of the things that really works if you're using multiple images is be sure and use some of the same colors on each one of these images. So you will see me do that. Even though I'm adding like a really fun turquoise on this shell, I'm still going to use some of the same colors that I used on the previous images on this shell, and that's going to make them all look in harmony when you are done putting your card together. I apologize for my voice. There appears to be an allergen in the air today, like every day in Austin, Texas, so sorry for the croaking. Now, this is the last shell. This one is funny because it actually sort of reminds me of a snail shell. Like, I can totally see a snail poking out of the right-hand side of this one. It looks very similar to a lot of the snails that we have here in Central Texas. So I'm just coloring this one with some of the yellow and then adding the blending pencil to blend that out. And then a little bit of shading. All you need to do is choose a slightly darker shade than what you used originally to give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'm going to go back with the turquoise to tie those 2 shells together. And again, just have a little bit of color harmony across the card. Now, the thing that really drew me to the postal image that I used as inspiration was this wavy blue background that was behind the shells. So to recreate that, I'm going to just hand cut a piece of masking paper into sort of a wave shape and stick that down onto this slimline card. And that is going to be the basis for some ink blending. Now it turns out this one is a tiny bit short on one side, so I'm trimming off a little bit on the bottom and sticking that on the right hand side just so that I don't get any stray ink while I'm ink blending. So once I get that stuck down and make sure the whole thing is protected, I can ink blend the very first wave. And what I'm going to do is fill up that whole space with the paler blue ink, and then I will come in and sort of cross over that with a darker ink. This is just like my base layer sky. So I want a little curvy stripe like they had on the postage stamps. So you can do this a couple different ways. You can take the opposite wave, you can turn that upside down or right side up, which is what I'm doing, and then just brushing that ink off on a paper towel roll. Same color family, so you don't need to spend a ton of time cleaning it. And then I'm just using the next darker ink color and pull that off. And then I have two different colors of waves that will be behind my shells when they are all finished. So I have my honeybee ink here. I'm just going to figure out how to lay these out. Turns out that 5 of them are perfect for a slimline card. I do want to be careful that they don't sort of hang off the edge, so I am going to overlap them just a little bit. Using liquid glue really gives you so much wiggle room when you're doing this, because I can put them above or even underneath the previous image, and I have that little forgiving window of time where I can move those die cuts around. Isn't that cute? I love that. So I'm cleaning off the ink off my glass mat so that I don't get it all over my card, which I'm sort of famous for. And then I'm putting my slimline card into my MISTI. The card base will fit into the original MISTI. And then I'm going to set up this sentiment. Now these do come with dies, but today I thought I would stamp that just right on the card base. It's such a cute little sentiment. So I'm using the Honeybee Hybrid Black ink to stamp this with, and I'll stamp it a couple times so it's nice and black. Make sure that I get it totally covered. And that is so cute. What a fun, clean and simple card. Not a 1-layer card, but it's still a clean and simple card. Then I'm taking these rainbow gems and I'm sort of matching them to the shell that I'm putting them next to, and just putting a few of them across the card near the colors that they match. I love a good rhinestone. So there is the finished slimline card. Here is a better photo of it with all those colored pencil details. Head over to my blog today for a giveaway and more information. And thanks so much for watching.